Of rock fans are again heading out to Shea Stadium for another concert by The Who. Last night, an estimated 70,000 spectators, of course that was a full house, turned out to see the world-famous band. Police reported no actual violence, in their words, at the event, but about 50 people were arrested for disorderly conduct. Another 100 people, including 3 police officers, were injured. One of the hurt officers suffered an ear injury from an exploding firecracker, and the emergency medical service says most of the other injuries consisted of fractured ankles and broken limbs. It was the crush of the crowd. Now with us tonight on Channel 2 News at 5 is Parks Commissioner Gordon Davis, who will hopefully discuss for us how the city's handling such a massive group of people. Commissioner Davis, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm wondering how you're planning to change your game plan to avoid any more trouble tonight.
Well, there really wasn't very much trouble last night. In fact, one observer described the crowd as being less difficult than the crowd at a Monday night Jets game. And in fact, the problems of the medical assistance problems, the arrest problems, were about 1/3 the number of arrests and medical problems they had when the Who performed in Buffalo. So we think generally it went pretty well, considering that it's 70,000 people. Rock fans are enthusiastic, to put it mildly. This is not the Metropolitan Opera crowd, and we think it went pretty well.
Well, I understand your optimism, I guess, for the rest of the performance, but with that many injuries the other night, I'm wondering, they say that the unreserved section had a lot of problems, also a crush of counterfeit ticket holders. Am I correct in learning that?
Well, no, a lot of that's exaggerated. In fact, the unreserved seats in the field, which is only 12,000 of the 70,000 seats, worked pretty well. The injuries were not confined to any one place. They were more or less isolated incidents. There was one report in the New York paper today. There was a riot here last night, and as far as I know, I was here, the police, we didn't see any riot. We saw a very enthusiastic crowd with some injuries, but nothing comparable to some of the places like Buffalo and Detroit where the Who was played in the last month.
So you think all the reports were exaggerated and you're just not too worried?
No, I didn't say I didn't worry. I worry a lot. That's why I'm here. I said that some of the reports were as enthusiastic in their exaggeration as the crowd was in their love of the Who.
Okay, that's a good way to explain it. The Who has had a rather tortured history, in fact, though, with some rock concerts. Of course, Cincinnati in 1979, we all remember 11 people were killed with a stampeding crowd. You've still got large numbers of people together. What are you recommending?
I am recommending that people, when they get here, be orderly. The Who doesn't go on until 9:30 or so there's plenty of time to get in the stadium. Don't bring alcoholic beverages. Follow the instructions of the security people, and everything will go just all right.
How are your forces getting ready, though, for the problems with drug users, if there are any? There were some last night, apparently.
Oh, yes, there were problems like that. We frisk everybody before they go in the stadium for bottles and other kinds of controlled substances. Generally, that works fairly well. You must understand, there are about 1,500 security people involved in this operation. New York City Police, Transit Police, our own enforcement officers. And as I said, it's a very enthusiastic crowd, but generally, we thought it went better than a Monday night Jets game.
Now, what would you say to parents whose kids are getting ready to get in the cars and roll out there? You want them to take the gasoline out of the cars and stay home, or what would you recommend?
Well, I recommend they not worry too much, but as a father of a child, you always worry when your kids go out at night, but don't be alarmed.
Well, that's good. Did you see the concert last night? You were there, as you said. Was it enjoyable last night, Commissioner?
Well, my job, I don't get to enjoy these things until about a month.
Tourist Pete Townsend through a smoke glass limousine drives the kids wild.
I saw his nose! I saw his nose! Oh my God, I saw his earring! Oh my God, I'm gonna freak out!
He's wearing a red shirt! An ex-punk group called The Clash, who could fill Shea Stadium on its own, opened the show for 67,000 people.
We're going to just go out there and do our normal show, you know, and hope that it's going to go across with the people out there who are just mainly Who fans, you know. I don't think people are going to come to these kind of big concerts anymore. It's probably the big last rock show you're going to see, folks.
The Shea crowd is just a fraction compared to the size of the crowd at Woodstock, where the Who once played, and it's also small compared to this year's US Festival, where the Clash appeared. But these two groups together in the same place is history, you think?
Boy, I tell you, that's new rock and roll and old rock and roll coming together.
Well, I definitely think that it's like a major band, and then you've got a major band.
The Who is set to perform one more night at Shea tomorrow, and then after the rest of this tour, that's it. But strangely enough, they did call this their first farewell tour, so we may not have heard the last of them.
How many times can they say goodbye?
They just keep doing it.
That's our report for tonight. I'm Christy Fair.
And I'm Tim Malloy. We'll see you tomorrow.
50 people were arrested during the group's performance. Tony Pagnotti is at Shea Stadium now with a look at how things are going so far tonight. Tony?
Well, Carol, it looks like a little rain is not dampening the spirit of Who fans. So far, very orderly as the first of 70,000 arrive here. This after things got a little out of control last night. When the Who came out rocking and rolling last night, some over-enthusiastic fans responded by pushing and shoving their way toward the stage. That, police say, resulted in at least 20 people being injured. Despite an appeal to the crowd by lead singer Roger Daltrey to cool it, 75 arrests were made on charges ranging from disorderly conduct to drug possession. Late today, police were back at Shea, more than 500 officers in all, many of them wearing helmets tonight after bottles were thrown from the top of the stadium last night. Fans with unreserved tickets showed up early in an attempt to get a good position on the field. And as they were admitted to the stadium, police frisked each of them for bottles and cans. And that seemed to be the problem last night. At this time, I'm told by Assistant Chief Fitzpatrick that we had quite a backlog of fans here. Tonight, orderly. What's the difference tonight? What happened?
The difference is that the promoter, through his security people, have expedited the process of admission to the stadium. The youths are being searched more quickly than they were last night.
Do you expect that as the evening goes on, a couple more hours before showtime, that you'll be able to keep it like this?
If the process of frisking remains the same, yes. I anticipate a large buildup of people between now and 7:30.
And if someone's coming out here, keep the bottles and cans at home?
Yes, because they will be taken away from you. You will not be allowed to enter the stadium with them.
Thank you, Assistant Chief. You know, a lot of people are wondering why the big turnout for the Who. Well, despite their popularity, one of the big reasons is that this group is saying it's their farewell tour, and people want to just be saying that, yes, we went there and we saw the Who. Now, Roger Daltrey, the leader of this group, has said, this is our final tour. It's too difficult on our families. It's not really worth it. But financially speaking, it's worth it. When this tour is completed, the Who will have grossed $17 million in ticket sales alone. Live from Shea Stadium, I'm Tony Pagnotti. Back to Chuck and Carol.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Just 100 people were hurt in trouble ranging away from trampling to throwing of bottles. But tonight, more precautions are being taken to make sure there's more order than there was last night. Among those precautions, more police will be on duty, and no cans or bottles will be allowed inside the stadium as the Who performs. Radio City Music Hall drew a crowd all its own today. Several hundred
Who aficionados turned out at Shea, and while the police report no violence, they did make 50 arrests for disorderly conduct. Another 100 Who fans suffered injuries, ranging from broken ankles to other limbs broken. Approximately 500 extra police have been assigned to the area around the stadium, and 100 extra transit authority officers to the local subway stations. Who?
3 games to none.
Guidry won the game, although he allowed 8 hits.
It's the second of 2 performances by the group at Shea. Last night, about 100 people were hurt in all the pushing and shoving. 50 people were arrested for disorderly conduct and other misdemeanors. The group says this is its farewell tour.
Still ahead tonight, the latest on the stock market.
I've been working so hard.
Just like